Welcome back to sgCarMart Reviews, and today we have the Audi Q3 Sportback. If you ask who makes the best looking SUVs, I'll tell you it's Audi, and the Q3 here is no exception. It has always managed to look modern and sophisticated without being over the top. It never needs to shout about its existence, like some of its competitors, of which I shall not name. Now in its second generation, it has more tech, better looks, and in this Sportback version, a highly desirable coupe-like body. Very nice. Now we've already established that the Audi Q3 is a very good looking SUV and I like it very much. But there are some features which really allow the Q3 to stand out a little bit more, like this full LED headlights. And because this is the S-Line variant, it comes with this nicer looking grille, more pronounced, more aggressive. These bumpers too are part of the S-Line, and this color, it's called Turbo Blue. Good stuff. But this is a Sportback, and when you talk about Sportback, it is this part here, this sloping roofline. I like this very much. Actually, this part sort of reminds me of the Cayenne Coupe. That's a very nice car too. And because the greenhouse is a little bit smaller, these flat wheel arches look bigger, and this Q3 Sportback looks wider and more aggressive than the normal Q3. That's something I really like. The Audi Q3 Sportback is priced from $168,000 to this $200,000 Quattro model. This car comes with a 2-litre turbocharged engine. It produces 177 brake horsepower and 320 Newton meters of torque. The 7-speed dual-clutch S-tronic transmission brings the Q3 Sportback from 0 to 100 km per hour in 7.8 seconds. For more details on the Audi Q3 Sportback or any other car, head on to sgCarMart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Now you might be thinking, because the Audi Q3 Sportback has a sloping coupe-like roofline, that it won't have much boot space. Well, you are wrong, because this boot space is exactly the same size as the regular Audi Q3 at 530 litres big. And if you need more space, just fold the rear seats flat and you have 1,400 litres of space. And if you just talk about the boot space alone, it is still bigger than its regular SUV competitors. The BMW X1 is 505 litres and the Volvo XC40 is only 460 litres. And this parcel shelf over here can be hidden quite nicely in this compartment over here. It fits perfectly. So, the most important test today, the anti-trolley length test. Let's see if it passes. Fits perfectly. Pass. What about a full-size luggage bag? Pass. So if you actually need to go to the market and then send someone to the airport, you can with the Audi Q3 Sportback in style. To the rear seats. Now, the front seat is set to my comfortable driving position, and I'm just under 1.8 meters tall. But look at the space. There's quite a bit of knee room. There's quite a bit of leg room overall. There's also wiggle room. It's really not bad over here. And of course, because this is a coupe-like SUV, you might think that headroom is bad, but it isn't. There's really quite a bit of space. I can try my best to prove that this doesn't have any headroom, but it does really very well. And of course, it's very comfortable for two at the back, because you do have these air conditioning vents, and if you have a kid, of course, you do have ISOFIX points. Now, the middle seat is also not too bad. It does have a firm backing, but honestly, I'm quite comfortable over here. Also, reasonable amount of headroom. Not too shabby, not too shabby. To the front seats. Alright, let's talk about this space here. I really like it. Audi has really put a lot of effort here. I mean, look at this beautiful Alcantara touches on the dashboard. They feel so good. But the other thing which captures your attention are these two beautiful displays. Let's talk about the one right here. It is the 10.1-inch Audi MMI infotainment system. Now, it's smooth and easy to use when you dive through menus, but more importantly, Audi has actually put quite a bit of thought into this to make it more user-friendly. Now, a lot of manufacturers just put in Apple CarPlay, wireless or not, and when that happens, Apple CarPlay sort of takes over all the infotainment systems that the car has, but this is not the case here. So for example, if you want to change your ambient lighting, you can just go straight here and change it to your liking. Let me see, I'll go for red. But if you want to go back to Apple CarPlay, you don't have to dive through App Connect menus or even sometimes have to reconnect it again. You can just press this button here and you go straight back to Apple CarPlay. Now, this is quite impressive, I feel. And you can sort of customize it too. You can, if you feel like you want to put your media over here, you can. In your telephone, for example. So it really can be customized to your liking. It's quite impressive. And of course, this MMI display works hand in hand with the virtual cockpit. It is 12.3 inches in size, and I'll be honest, it is one of the better looking ones currently out there. My favorite part, of course, is this map display, and if you actually change it to display the satellite image, it's actually very, very cool. Look at that. I can even zoom out, zoom in. I feel like a pilot. And because this is Audi Virtual Cockpit Plus, you can customize it too. I forget how to customize. You can customize how you want your dials to look. You can just press the view button, of course, but if you want it to be more minimalist, you can change it to be more dynamic. Look at that. Smaller dials. Not bad. And of course, this also comes with Audi Connect, which is its own suite of connected services. So you can actually check the weather if you want to. It is loading. Good stuff. Of course, you do have traffic updates, as you can see when I zoom out. But that's not all. Audi Connect even gives you point of interest information such as food reviews, parking rates, and much more. Good stuff, Audi. But it isn't just a space that looks good and has various infotainment features. It is a very usable one too. I mean, you do have very big cubby holes here and here, some spaces to put your barangs. And what I do like is that they've actually thought about us smartphone users and put a little slot here to put your phone. That is, of course, if you don't want to charge it. If you want to charge your phone, you do have wireless charging. Not too shabby. Good stuff. Alright, let's see how this thing drives on the road. Let's talk about power. Well, it's reasonably quick. 177 brake horsepower, 320 Newton meters of torque. Now that torque figure is really healthy, 320 Newton meters of torque, which means that if you have gaps in traffic that you need to fill up, this car will do it just fine. I didn't have any problems like that when I was driving around the past few days. So we've got a bit of twisties here, so let's try a little bit of the handling. It's not too shabby, this steering wheel. I like it very much. It's not too heavy. You see, the problem with a lot of manufacturers is that they try to make the steering heavy in a bit to make it a little bit more sporty, which I don't really like. So for the most part, I'm usually having the steering wheel set to comfort. But this is in its most dynamic setting, which is Audi speak for sport, but it still feels very nice and pointy, which is nice. You can really push this thing. And when you talk about comfort, you can set the suspension to its most comfortable setting, which is aptly named Comfort. Now, if you put it into comfort, the suspension softens up, the steering also softens up, the gearbox too, and the engine, and it becomes a nice and comfortable cruiser. I think that's quite impressive. This Q3 Sportback has quite a bit of abilities in a way that if you need to drive it sportily, you can, or if you just want to sit around town driving normally, you can too. Right now, I'm driving comfortably at about 50 kilometers per hour, and well, I don't really feel a thing. I think that's really quite nice. So is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try for me? Well, it is a will buy. I think the Audi Q3 Sportback is a very good looking car for an SUV, and of course it has a lot of features, and it is reasonably powerful and very nice to drive. And also, I would consider the 1.4 litre version because that is a bit more affordable. And when you compare to the other competitors in the market, I think this really stands on its own, especially with its coupe-like styling. I think that is very special, and that makes it a will buy for me. So what do you guys think of the Audi Q3 Sportback? Well, do put down your thoughts in the comment box down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to sgCarMart for more reviews. I'll see you guys next time.